Welcome to the First Parish in Framingham. We are a welcoming congregation, so whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. We welcome you here however you are joining us during this time of worship, whether here in the meeting house, online, or at some point in the future on a streaming video. My name is Allison Park, and today I'll be your worship associate, and my pronouns are she and hers. Be sure to read the announcements in today's order of service. There are many activities that happen every Sunday. Immediately after our worship, we invite you to join us across the courtyard in Scott Hall for coffee hour, where you will be able to view this year's auction baskets. Some good stuff in there. Raffle early, raffle often. At this point, please take a moment and check that all your devices and phones are set to their quietest setting. While electronic noises can be distracting, we welcome your human noises, especially the sound of your singing and the sound of your laughter, so please join in. Since 1701, people have gathered as this community to rest or recharge, to be challenged or affirmed. Those people are like you. You belong here, maybe only for the next hour, but we hope for longer. We are happy to have you here with us. I now invite you to take a comfortable breath in and out. Continue to take a few more breaths and begin to release whatever you need to let go of in order to be more fully present to yourself, to one another, and to the sacred in this time and place. A flame within a chalice is the primary symbol of our Unitarian-Universalist faith. We make this time holy by kindling our chalice flame. We light our chalice this morning to set aside this time as holy with these words by Barbara Pescan. In this familiar place, listen to the sound of breathing, creaking chairs, shuffling feet, clearing throats, and sighing all around. Know that each breath, movement, the glance meant for you or intercepted, holds a life within it. These are signs that we choose to be in this company, have things to say to each other, things not yet said, but in each other's presence, still trembling behind our heart's doors, these doors closed but unlocked, each silent thing waiting on the threshold between unknowing and knowing, between being hidden and being known. Listen, rejoice. Please rise in body or in spirit to our opening hymn, number 128, For All That Is Our Life. Please remain standing as we sing our song of affirmation and later to say our spoken affirmation. Is a doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve all life with compassion, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. This is our great covenant, one with another and with our God.
You may be seated. I am the Reverend Aaron Stockwell Wisman, the senior minister of this congregation. I use he, him, his pronouns, and this is the time in our service that we set aside for the sharing of the things which weigh deepest on our hearts. We share them because joy shared is joy expanded, and sorrow shared can feel as though someone is lifting our burden. You can submit your joys or sorrows either online or by writing them in this book, which lives at the back of the sanctuary. We intersperse into our sharing the song, "There is a Love," so that our joys and sorrows can be held with song, but also so that you might have a song on your heart when you are sorrowful or joyful. I begin with the sorrows and concerns of our gathered community, of which there are none written down in our book. So we light a candle for all of those for whom Mother's Day is a tender time. Let us sing, "There is a Love." There is a love holding me. There is a love holding all that we love. There is a love holding all. I rest in this love. Marianne Orlando shares this joy, very encouraged by the election of the new Pope, who has actively and openly affirmed the dignity of all persons and actively challenged Make America Great Again doctrine as non-Christian. We share this joy, Ben Long, my 34th birthday, which took place 2 days ago on May 9th. Happy birthday, Ben. Marianne Orlando shares this joy as well. Larry Decker's celebration of life yesterday was moving but also joyful, a tribute to him and First Parish, the community that loved him. This joy from someone who wishes to remain anonymous, joy for this community, home for the curious and the courageous, First Parish in Framingham, on the Center Common since 1701. And this from Diane B., who writes, "Feeling so loved by the surprise presence of her daughter Jess on this beautiful Mother's Day." Let us sing, "There is a Love Holding Us." There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all that we love. There is a love holding all. We rest in this love. And we light one final candle for all of the joys and all of the sorrows that remain too great to share today. I begin our time of contemplation, meditation, and prayer with these good words by my colleague Lisa Bovey-Kemper. To address the complexity of this day. In this circle of care, we make space for the complexity of life, the myriad experiences that bless and break our hearts. The truth of human experience dictates that on any given day, we each come to the table with hearts in different places. It is especially so on this day, invented to honor women who nurture. In this circle of care, we honor the truth that mothering is not and never will be quantified in one single descriptor. Motherhood can be elusive or infuriating, fulfilling or confusing, commonplace or triumphant. It exists in the everyday experiences of each person. There is no human being that is not connected or disconnected from a mother. And so we honor the complexity of experience, writ large in flowered platitudes, but here in this space laid bare. Honoring the truth that in each of our hearts, there is room for all in this circle. If you have carried a child or children, whether or not they have come to be born, we see you. If you fervently wished to do so and circumstances of fate made it impossible, we see you. If you love children we cannot see either because of death or estrangement, we see you. If you never wanted to be a mother, we see you. If you are happy to mother other people's children as an educator, an auntie, or a foster parent, we see you. If your mother hurt you physically or emotionally, we see you. If you had no mother at all, we see you. If your mother is or was your best friend, we see you. If your gender says you are not a mother, and yet you take on the role of nurturer, we see you. If you wonder whether your mothering has been enough, we see you. And if yours is a different truth altogether, we honor your unspoken story. There is room for all in this circle. May it be so today and always. And remember that breath that Allison asked us to pay attention to at the beginning of our service. I invite you to return your attention to your breath in and your breath out. Breathing in love and breathing out peace. As we sort our lists of all of the hustle and the bustle, the thanks and the concerns, we give thanks for this space, for this community and this constellation of people present here or online. We give thanks for this sturdy but ephemeral nature of religious community. We give thanks, too, for all that we have, for sheltering roofs above our heads and the strength of our gathered community. We know, too, that in our midst there are people who are living with illness or disease, distance or grief. In this community of communities, we hold all. And in a world that seems to be taking away rights and dignities. Let us, in this space, have the strength to affirm the love that exists between people. Let us work to bend the arc of the universe towards justice. And from time to time, when our humanity shows a little bit too much, when we put distance between ourselves and others, maybe when our authentic selves can be a little bit coarse, or maybe when we put distance between ourselves and the universe, let us know this truth. We are loved and lovable not in spite of these imperfections, but because of them, and because of that sacred breath. There is still time to rebuild, to reconnect. I say these words and do all things for love's sake. Amen. And now we sit in the quiet of this space so that we might rest or recharge, pray the prayers of our own hearts, or simply do absolutely nothing for the next minute. May this silence that we have kept here be something that we return to when we need to find our center again. I wrote nothing in the script about the invitation to the offering, so I will gladly do it. Each week, we take part in ritual that connects us to our wider community. And this moment of offering is part of that ritual. Our church is full of surprises. That's the first time that's happened. And it is also sturdy and strong, a place where we bring our joys and our sorrows, where we laugh and where we cry. So your chance to support the work of this self-supporting congregation happens now. If this is your first time joining us, I invite you to let the offering plate pass you by. The morning offering will now be joyfully given and gratefully received.
That arrangement always tears me up because the original text my mother taught my third grade Sunday school Bible study class. And she had us all memorize the 23rd Psalm, not by any kind of coercion or threat, but because she would give us a gift certificate for ice cream and walk us from the church over to Whitley's drugstore afterwards. And later in life, she shared with me that when my father died, that was the text that came to her mind, that helped her hold it together while he was going to surgery. But anyway, so I knew I was showing it, and I thought you should know. But today's reading is Love After Love by Derek Walcott. The time will come when, with elation, you will greet yourself, arriving at your own door, in your own mirror, and each will smile at the other's welcome and say, "Sit here, eat." You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give wine, give bread, give back your heart to itself, to the stranger who has loved you all your life, whom you ignored for another, who knows you by heart. Take down the love letters from the bookshelf, the photographs, the desperate notes. Peel your own image from the mirror. Sit. Feast on your life.
All right. We planned that. That was lovely. Thank you. So the date, that was pomp and circumstance, by the way, if you did not pick that up. The date was probably June 6th or June 7th, 2000. The last day of school had been a few days before, and yet we are all back at our high school for graduation rehearsal. In my mind, it seemed silly to practice walking, taking the diploma, shaking hands, turning to the camera and smiling, pausing for that photo op, and then going to sit back down again, and then practicing walking out. I wouldn't have remembered any of this if it had not been for funny and humorous things that happened at the same time. As we sat in our seats out on the yard of the school, we saw a state police car drive very quickly up the driveway of the school, and a state trooper getting out of the car and going to tell our principal something. She quickly told us to get in the building. The principal then, once we were all assembled in the gymnasium, told us the message that the state trooper had in a very thick Boston accent that is, I think, required of Massachusetts state troopers, or at least taught in the academy. Get your people in your building. You got a bear on your yard. Apparently, there was a black bear on near our school, and they wanted us to be safe. The practicing didn't help much either because we were outside later, and halfway through the calling of the names for our diplomas, it started to downpour, and we scattered and were brought into the auditorium to finish the names. Everything we had rehearsed for saying goodbye had been upset. I wonder, when was the last time that you had to say goodbye to someone? And I mean more in a formal sense, not see you later kind of way. Like at a graduation or a job change, a breakup, a retirement, a death, a move. What did that teach you about your life, your relationship to the people who were there? Departures are often messy, and yet we do not get good practice about how to say goodbye unless it is in a very formal way, like at a graduation. So therefore, each other goodbye that we say is practice for all of the other goodbyes. Practicing on how to do them makes sense. This gives us peace of mind, and maybe learning how to take our leave and move on to whatever comes next becomes a little bit easier. Another goodbye. I remember a goodbye once at the end of a week-long Boy Scout training. This was long before the days of Facebook or even instant messenger, which folks of my generation will know is how we kept in touch with people. This group of 6 or 7 of us had grown very close over this week. You had to, living in very close proximity to one another for a week, learning together, cooking together, and so on. As we were leaving from the closing flag ceremony, I remember saying goodbye to one of my patrol mates and seeing, "See you soon," or "Until we meet again." And his only response was, "No, you probably won't. This is it." Breathtaking honesty, only found in 8th grade boys. But it was refreshing. And sure enough, I forget everything else about that scout, even his name, aside from that brief lesson that sometimes goodbye is truly final. I was also thinking that there are some times when it is okay that a relationship or a friendship doesn't last forever. We're not going to meet our best friends for life at a coffee shop, though maybe you did. I think most of our interactions with others are indeed very time limited. The duration of a plane ride, a class, even a call as a minister. By now, you know that this is my third to last sermon with you. There are other sermons in between that other people will be giving, so it's not your third to last chance to say goodbye. Don't worry. But on August 1st, I will no longer be your minister. And perhaps by now you have started to come to terms with that. Or perhaps you think that this long goodbye seems drawn out. But the surprise will be when it does happen, it will seem very sudden. Being in contact with someone is never really something that you can slowly dial back and then it's gone. But you can still look over your shoulder as they disappear into the horizon. One moment they are there, and then the next moment they are gone. That moment a relationship or a friendship or a partnership ends happens in a split second. But it is the lead up and the aftermath that lingers. I like what Yahia Lababidi said in his poem, which I shared with you a few weeks ago. It talks about the lead up to the moment of leaving. And then when that moment of leaving happens, he says, something will stretch, croak, or come undone so that everything else must be reconsidered. There are hours when everything breaks and creaks, when chairs stretch their arms, tables their legs, and closets crack their backs incautiously. Some piece of immobility will finally quit, suddenly nimble on wooden limbs, as fast as a horse, leaving the stable. You can surely think back to your own goodbyes that you have had to make in your life. Goodbye because you moved homes, ended a relationship, switched jobs, or because of death. Goodbyes are so challenging because humans are wired to be in connection. And so a loss of connection worries us. As we know from our look and our book that we wrote as well on the epidemic of loneliness Our bodies literally see this as an existential threat, with the wiring going back to prehistoric days. But I also like what Derek Walcott writes about in our reading that Allison read today. You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give wine, give bread, give back your heart to itself, to the stranger who has loved you all your life, he writes. Take down the love letters from the bookshelf, the photographs, the desperate notes. Peel your own image from the mirror. Sit, feast on your life. For after every leaving, there is also a new arrival when you are left with yourself. When we get to the point of saying goodbye and farewell, I think that there are two different ways that people often approach a goodbye. They either try to run through the thistles as they say goodbye, or they don't say goodbye at all, and we just leave. Roy Oswald, a noted scholar of church leadership, which, yes, there are scholars of church leadership, wrote it in this way, saying, when I was a young boy, age 6, growing up in rural Saskatchewan, my 2 older brothers and I would often decide to walk home from school over the fields rather than along the road. It was shorter, to be sure, but occasionally we would come upon enormous thistle patches. I cannot remember seeing anything like it since, but those thistle patches sometimes used to extend for half a mile or more. In the places, the prickly patches would be 50 to 100 feet wide. In other places, just 10 to 20 feet wide. The rest of the field laying fallow in the summer was tilled soil. We rarely wore shoes to school in the summertime, hence our dilemma: how to cross these thistle patches in bare feet. We did have the choice of walking around them, but since it was the end of the day, we were all tired and hungry. We were anxious to get home. Mother usually had a snack or a treat for us to tide us over until supper. To walk around the patch would take us out of our way. The other option was to back up and run through the narrowest patch at full speed. Being the youngest, Roy writes, with the least speed and the smallest leg span, I always objected. I was usually overruled, he writes, however, by my 2 other brothers, who would then each take me by one hand and run me through the thistle patch. I can still remember the vivid experience, running full speed in bare feet across 20 feet of prickly thistles, yelping in pain all the way through. When the 3 of us reached the black soil on the other side, we would immediately hit the dirt and start to pull out the few thistles that were still stuck in our feet. I heard 4 briars get me. How many did you get? Was a sample of our post-agony conversation. How many goodbyes have you ever rushed through, simply because you knew it would be painful? How many goodbyes have you ever had that were also far too quick? Or goodbyes where only one party, yourself, was able to say goodbye because the relationship ended on terms not your own? When I was a teenager, I was pretty typical in terms of teenagers, and I was not good at saying goodbye. Or I wasn't good about realizing the impact of the moment. Perhaps that's developmentally appropriate. When I went off to college, which I went to Lesley College in Cambridge, Massachusetts, there was a welcome dinner, or a farewell dinner, at the end of orientation for all incoming first-year students to go with their parents. And at the end, I got up and I announced to my parents, all right, I'm going to walk back to my dorm See you later. Only to walk back to my dorm alone. I was returning home just 4 days later for a Boy Scout training, so didn't feel like it was too long. I would see them soon enough. I have long told this story as an example of what I thought was a good goodbye. After a while of preaching this story and my parents listening, my parents finally told me, you know, you thought that was a good goodbye, but for us it was terrible. We wanted to walk you back to your dorm and give you a hug. Instead, you just left us hanging there. Lesson learned for both sides, I guess. Express your expectations, because unexpressed expectations are rarely met. There was a book published in 2004 by Ira Bjork called The 4 Things That Matter Most. In this book, he lays out 11 words which can help mend relationships. They are, please forgive me, I forgive you, thank you, and I love you. Bjork worked mainly in palliative care and hospice situations, and because of that, much of what he writes about is from the perspective of that final goodbye. Goodbyes are emotional, especially in those sorts of situations, because that's the final one. Our last chance at potentially mending relationships. We know that in any relationship, or partnership or friendship, if it is as most human relationships are, people fumble with their words. They say hurtful things, intentionally or unintentionally, or we're just clumsy with our relationships. This is why I think that saying, please forgive me, is the first most important set of words when saying goodbye. It is important to recognize the ways in which a relationship could have been better, to recognize the very human parts of a relationship where we might have failed to live up to our highest ideals. I forgive you is also important, because it is a recognition that you know there are times when the other person may have come up short. Maybe not that they have sinned, because that seems like very strong language, but at least you recognize that there are times when the other person missed the mark. Of course, I do recognize that there are times when that other person has done egregious things, such as abuse or neglect, all of which make forgiving tough. But I think in some way we can forgive, which is very different from forget. Thank you is the next phrase that one needs to say when saying goodbye. I think it was Meister Eckhart who said, if the only prayer you ever say in your life is thank you, it will be enough. I don't want to dwell on this part too long, because there are other sermons to do that in. Talking about gratitude comes a little bit later. But letting the other person know that you are glad that they were in your life is so crucial. It can help them realize that impact that they had in your life. And I love you is the final phrase. And that second word, love, can have a lot of different meanings, right? The Greeks had several words for it: agape, the divine love, the compassionate love, the love of God; philia, brotherly love or friendship; storge, family love, kind of affection based on instinct or nature; and eros, erotic or romantic love. Those different types of love cover any sort of I love you statement you would want to say when saying goodbye. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. And I love you. There is a final phrase, though, that Björk misses. That is as important or more important than all of those other phrases, which is goodbye. Goodbye comes from a contraction, I am told, of the phrase, God be with ye. I recognize that for some, God is not a useful concept. That's fine. Chances are good. I don't believe in that God that you don't believe in either. That mystery beyond all understanding, in my eyes, provides presence, not protection. So just add an extra O, good be with you. That works too. Goodbye is a benediction and blessing and hope that the greater good will follow you all the days of your life. And so, my friends gathered here, our days have not yet drawn to a close, but there is a final date there. Not quite yet. So as we get ready to say goodbye soon, please forgive me. I forgive you. Thank you, and yes, I love you. May it be so, and amen. I invite you to rise in body or spirit to sing number 311, Let It Be a Dance. So as we leave this friendly place, let us take the light of love out into the world and use it to brighten our pathways. And when we need to rest or recharge, be challenged or affirmed, may that light guide us safely back. May we hold the light always, and the light hold us always. Amen, and go in peace.